Yo, what up? And welcome to another episode of Straight from the Stands, an unapologetic, unofficial LA Galaxy podcast, hosted by four Foulmouth supporters who bring you their thoughts and views on everything related to LA Galaxy, straight from the stands. I am your co-host Smarts, alongside the always angry Angel, his counterpart level-headed George, and the man with the facts, Masa. This is Straight from the Stands.
Good evening. What up?
What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? Y'all
Good
staying safe?
evening.
Y'all have your mask on?
Good
Oh.
evening. Do we have to?
Actually, I took it off. Look.
That's how it works, no? You have to have your mask on?
I heard it can be transferred through cell phones. It's like cancer, fool. That shit you don't know.
Like Illuminati?
Yo,
That's how we're starting off.
Real quick. I heard a conspiracy theory, right? Like super fucking typical hat. You heard about this 5G shit?
Oh yeah, I heard about.
You heard about this 5G shit?
Yeah, I heard about 5G shit.
All right, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna go into it because I ain't trying to be that guy, right? But I heard that and I was like, all right, maybe. But how you guys doing today?
I heard that shit was already shut down though. Like that the whole conspiracy was already defunct or whatever. Debunked. There you go, debunked.
All right, listen.
Allegedly.
When I first heard it though, like I was just like, All right, how you guys doing? You guys staying sane? Angel, you my man. I'm a little worried about. I was on the Zoom call for Nate's B-Day call. And yo boys, if you're getting 12, 14 hours of that a day, my man, how you holding up?
I'm not.
To the podcast was crazy. I heard, rah, rah, rah. I'm like, oh, fuck. Let me put my
They
headphones
came. Oh, actually, before you joined, they came to talk to Chris.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
talking to me. They're like, "Hey, do you know it's my birthday yesterday?" I was like, "Yeah, I heard." He was like, "Oh, all right, bye, good night."
And you got it easy.
Yeah, you gotta use it.
Listen, yeah, it's been. I think I couldn't wait for this hour and a half pod. Like I'm close up. I'm here. I'd rather talk to you guys.
Yes,
and
sir.
I love my kids, but right now I love you guys more. So
That's crazy.
I bet. Chris.
I might put them up for adoption. I haven't decided.
Chris, how you doing? How you doing, dog? Father to be coming up. How's that?
Yeah,
going?
man. Yeah, it's good. I've been home a lot. Been working,
No,
like,
really?
I've been home a lot, so it's been cool. Cooking, walking the dogs.
I seen you IG live today. What you had?
Dude, I was
bulgogi beef
cooking
and
it,
rice.
You know, yeah, bro, bulgogi, rice. Some
Oh, hold on. You get down. People obviously don't know this, but you're a top-notch chef. You used to work at fucking TGI Fridays, baby.
Bro, I give you a shout out on the live stream. I was like, I'm over here cooking for my boy George and Angel. Always asking me, I don't know how to cook meat. I don't know how to cook fucking pollo.
No, it's your
Like,
story. Yeah.
Yep.
He told me how to make chicken. I didn't die, so I did it right. Yeah.
George.
Yeah, but not other than that, man, it's all
He's
good.
made the best burgers that I've ever had with the cheese inside. Ooh.
Ooh. Yeah. And my favorite
sorry.
chili beans from Chris, top notch.
When this is all over, we need to have a barbecue, and you gotta be the chef master,
I
right?
am.
Oh yeah, he's not like you. Yeah.
Not like me, dog. 'Cause that's not my thing, though. I can build. I
Shout out
probably,
Jesse.
I can
Shout
probably
out
write.
Jesse.
I can probably write a
Hey,
script.
your dad
to-
never taught you?
Oh, so you gonna put it on there now? Huh? You gotta throw my shit. I just out it.
Okay.
George, how you doing, dog? I know you've been watching a lot of home TV, so you got a lot of decor and shit happening at your house right now. What's going on?
Wait,
I
what?
ain't shit. I basically rearranged this whole room. I told myself that I was gonna make my desk like my setup here. When Arya got out of the room, nah, I have all the time in the world. I'm building Stacia Vanity. I got my desk set up. I got a keyboard, RGB. Dog, I'm not leaving this house. I don't want to leave ever. I'm cool with this. Every day, I bought it. I bought an Xbox so I could play upstairs. So I have an Xbox upstairs and downstairs.
What? Really? Hey, let me borrow one though. So I can play with you guys.
Oh
Bro,
my
you should
god!
have just bought the cords, fool. Because
No.
you just disconnect, go upstairs with the Xbox.
Nah,
Save yourself $250, dog.
No, it was $100. I got it from my brother.
Oh, there you go. All right.
But yeah, so life is good, dog. I don't know.
How about you, Rudy? How you doing?
I am going apeshit crazy, dog.
Well, you have like 10 monitors, so
No. My setup is good. I'm just not used to like I don't have me time right now, which is fucked up, right? I'm saying this and I say it out loud and it sounds fucked up, but like just my drives to work and back, it was me time, right? Where I could listen to some shit and just be in my thoughts by myself and nobody fucking with me. And that shit is not there no more, and I miss that. Like that's driving me nuts. But other than that, though, like I'm healthy. The whole family's healthy.
why don't you just text into your Slack bot?
Why don't I just what? Oh, text her.
Yeah, like when you're in the toilet in the restroom, just
Text it.
message, Slack bot. There you go. Boom.
Listen, what helps? I'll tell you this. What helps, man? Dress up for work. I had an interview yesterday. I had a shirt.
Stop.
Hey,
I did on Skype, bro. I had my tie, my long sleeve shirt, but I had my shorts on with my pantuflas.
Oh man,
Yeah, I saw that.
Listen,
that picture.
I got a random call from my boss. Right, it was like on Slack with the camera and everything. Dog, I scrambled because I was like wearing a wife beater and I was like, some shorts and chocolate. I scrambled, I had to throw some shit on. I was like, hey, the weird as fuck.
Hey.
Yeah, exactly. Full on office shit. But today we have a dope episode. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm not even sure how I feel about it. But Masa couldn't make it, so Chris got out here, and it's it kind of worked out. Chris
I forgot Masa was part of the pod for a second.
Chris came through and got us in touch with Joe Tutino. And today we're gonna bring you a dope interview with Tutino. We just got off the line with him right now. Really, really dope interview. We get to really find out who Joe is and everything he does for games and how he feels about a lot of things. I thought it was really dope. I enjoyed it. So check that out and comment. Let us know what you think. We'll have more shit for you. Yeah, check it out.
All right, guys. So, Joe, thanks so much for joining us here. I'm straight from the stands. My co-hosts, Rudy, George, Chris, whom you already know. We are missing Masa, but Chris usually comes in and substitute. He's like our I'd say our sixth player.
He's a Landon Donovan when he came back.
I guess.
He's number 26.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. It's great to be talking to Galaxy fans and being in the family because it's we're all missing each other.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we're straight from the stands. If you're not familiar with our podcast, we're actually a supporters-driven podcast. So all of us are part of Angel City Brigade. I know you've heard of us quite a bit. Yeah, you hear us. Yeah, give us the shout-outs all the time. Like, I hear ACB in the background. Yep. But yeah, it's us. We been doing it now for I think a good 3-4 years now. 3 years. And we generally appreciate you spending the time here on Wednesday evening. Just chat with us for a bit. Obviously you get to know Joe Tutino a little bit more in depth.
It's my pleasure being here with you guys. I'm glad to see everybody's well.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I just say this? It's a little surreal to hear Joe Tutino's voice.
Yeah, your voice
right now. Like it's coming through my audio, and I'm like, this is really happening. So, just to follow up, Angel. Thank you so much for
it's
hopping on.
Like I said before we started the recording, and it was one of those things that got missed here on the pod, right? It's crazy. We heard your voice. I'm like, hey, is the Galaxy playing? Like, what's going on here? Yeah, exactly. It's just like, it's Joe's voice. Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It's like an infamous "Hey guys" or like "Hey everyone." It's like automatically sounds like a broadcast coming from.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, let's do it. We definitely have. We want to get to know you a little bit more in depth. We have a few things that we do want to cover today. And so let's dive right into it. The first thing, personally, I never gone into your history. I don't know much, so this is also going to be learning as I go about your background. But first thing, how did you become a play-by-play announcer?
I learned in high school that I wasn't going to go very far in soccer.
Okay.
And so I had
so you played before?
I played, yeah.
Oh, what position?
I was a goalkeeper. I was about this tall, but I was a lot rounder. Let's put it that way. A lot more round.
Okay.
But I was okay. I was able to overcompensate for the amount of weight I carried and was good enough to play all 4 years in high school at the varsity level, thank goodness. But what happened was I got hurt in high school, and in my family, my brothers have already gone on to careers. And for me, I just felt a tremendous amount of pressure to figure something out. And you guys got to understand something. I was a sophomore in high school when I felt this pressure. And, a light went off, and I said I wanted to be in the journalism class and was the sports editor of our high school newspaper, had a little column, talked a lot of trash. And
you sound like us.
Yeah, you really do, yeah. Fitting right in.
I got out of high school and was either to go down the writing route, and then one day I decided, you know what, I want to be a broadcaster, and I'd like to be able to broadcast soccer if I get the opportunity, and went down that route instead, and I've been very fortunate.
That's awesome.
Well, but how did you go down the road? I mean, do you go to a school specifically, a local university that says, broadcaster or for sports, or what's that? I mean, if I'm going to school, if I'm starting right now, what's my route?
Okay, so a lot of people that were hired by me I ended up going to a junior college out of either San Diego, Orange County, or L.A. That's probably your fastest route into this business, although this business is changing a lot, so I would not recommend it right now. But the point is, I went to a broadcasting school, and you guys, I think, are all too young to remember it, but it was out of Los Angeles, and it had a lot of schools around the United States, and it was Columbia School of Broadcasting. And there was a satellite campus in my hometown of San Diego. And fortunate for me, the director of the San Diego school happened to be a friend of my brother's. So I was like, oh, okay. I'm going to be welcome here.
Yeah.
I'll get the opportunity. And most of the time, these schools, you have guys that want to be DJs, so they want to go and be on, the radio doing music. And in my case, I was a news and sports guy. So I was a fish out of water for those guys. And I was really able to do what I wanted to do when I was in studio. And from there, I had an internship with the soccer team that was in San Diego at the time. And then there was no outdoor team. It was just
Aztecs,
indoor.
right?
San Diego Sockers.
Oh,
Yeah,
the Aztecs. The actual team. Oh, gotcha.
In San
Yeah.
San Diego.
And so, through
No,
that.
I meant the
internship-
university, but then my bad. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, through that school and through that internship, I was able to do play-by-play into a tape deck up high into the rafters, and just eventually got hired at a radio station that became a pretty big sports station in this country. And I was a young guy at the right place at the right time, and eventually became the executive producer. I was on the air there and eventually ran it. And it's a long story. There's the 30 years there, guys. I don't know who's 30 years old. Who's young? Who's under 30 right now?
George and I.
Ooh, under 30. So I started in this business before you were born. How about that?
That's great. Yeah, that's 10.
Rudy, raise your hand. Come on, be in there. Raise your hand.
Under 30? I wish.
Yeah, Rudy's there. Yeah.
I wish.
And you were probably in diapers at the time.
Yeah, well, close enough. Here's and I'm kind of going off script here, but
It's okay.
talk to me about how it's changed, especially, I gotta assume over the last 10 years, your field has to change a lot, right? Because with social media and all these streaming platforms and the way we consume content is, way different from even, the early 2010s or the 2000s. We just
Example, this podcast.
Our podcast, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of avenues, and you have to be relevant in all the platforms in different ways, though. Not in different ways. And here you have to have video. And I believe radio has to have that in the future also. Radio has to have a video component if it's going to survive in some particular way. And what's kind of going away is the writing. The long-form writing is kind of going away, and that's where you see the struggles that newspapers are having. Television seems to have made it through that transition, but they're also having to be part of what's happening right now in all platforms and being relevant there. And each of the talent has to be relevant to a certain degree in what you're comfortable with. If what I'm comfortable with, what you guys are comfortable with doing, that's what has to happen going forward. And it's still transitioning. We'll have something new coming at us in about 2 to 3 years also.
Yeah, and I asked that because it's, you're talking about your career that spans more than our lifetimes, and you're very relevant, right? You're very relevant, and that's,
I hope
tip of the cap, because like that's that's
Oh,
that's
yeah.
crazy,
Listen,
right?
and
Yeah, you are.
And again, going off script, this is something that George's going to get to a little bit later on. To us, you're very relevant. And we'll get to as to why. But what Rudy's saying, he hit it right there. It's definitely on point.
Yeah, because we, like Angel's mentioned, we've done this for 3 years, right? We're on our third year now, and we scramble to try to stay on top, or to stay relevant, or keep the momentum going, right? We started just audio, and now we're doing video. So I can only imagine, like, you've seen that times,
Transition, yeah.
Tenfold, 100-fold.
Evolution, I guess you can say, right?
So it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see that. Hearing
I
that.
think what's happening right now is in terms of, let's say, where I came from, where I started. Radio's still trying to hold on and make that pivot point and not lose too much of their revenue, right? Keep that revenue and find ways to continue to be relevant going forward. Big radio companies that have transmitters have sold all the real estate that their transmitters are on, only to understand that they are going to pivot off of this eventually and go also just digital going forward. And at that point, they will shed themselves of the transmitters, and suddenly you'll just have, whatever radio, whatever entertainment whatever it's going to be going forward. And that's where we are right now in the industry, to tell you the truth. That pivot point, whenever that happens, that takeoff point, that might be between 3 and 5 years. It could be a little bit longer because who knows what happened here with coronavirus and how that slowed everything down and how we pick up from there. But yeah, this having to start today, in my opinion, kind of sheds you of all the weight that everybody else is carrying. You know, you don't have to worry about that. You just get in there, grab on, and go. You know, and I think that's great.
No, you're dead on, right? Again, bringing it back to us, like we're not like your other podcasts, right? Like for us, it's a lot of banter. We curse a lot, but that's because this is our platform.
Not with you today.
Yeah, we're trying to be more civil today. But this is our platform, so we determine what we're doing, right? Where I know
hence the name, right? Straight from the stands. You know, it's really a lot of what's coming from the stands. I mean, we are supporters, and I'm not saying that other podcasts aren't. I'm saying that we're there nonstop. 90 plus minutes always behind, and we bring that same type of element of, hey, these guys are there, we're bringing it here to the pod, but we also know enough about soccer to sound competent from time to time.
That's the key one. From time to time.
You guys know you guys know more than you're giving yourself credit.
No, great.
But let's dive into it, and I appreciate that. Yeah, that's good to know. It's a little bit about Joe Tutino, how you came about, but how did Galaxy happen? Obviously you're 30 years with this at this radio station.
Mm-hmm.
What happened after that? How did you end up working for the Galaxy? Because you've been with the Galaxy since day one. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, it's an interesting thing. You guys heard me on the public address for the very first game, and that was kind of my start with the Galaxy. But the Galaxy organization at the time, the ownership group, and the thought process was they weren't all that interested in having English media at that time. It was more of towards the Hispanic market.
Orlando Los Gonzalez, right?
Yeah, and so that's
to hear him all the time. That's what I grew up with. Yeah.
And my situation was, they asked me. They said, "Are you bilingual?" I said, "Well, I'm bilingual. Yeah, I can speak Italian and English and Italian." And they wanted somebody to be obviously English and Spanish for that first year. So my full time really starts in '97. When the Galaxy joined my station at that time was Extra Sports 690, and we created what was called Galaxy Talk. And it was myself and Rick Davis. Galaxy Talk was 97 and 98. And then English television and radio really became full-time for the Galaxy. And that's when I really got an opportunity to do Galaxy play-by-play. My play-by-play career, though, began in 1994 doing indoor soccer before MLS was around. And
which club?
The club was in Anaheim. Played at what was called the Pond at the time, the Honda Center, the Anaheim Splash. There was a team at the Forum. What was it? LA United played at the Forum. And of course, the old San Diego team was around, and there was a team in Sacramento. Danny Pena played for the Sacramento Knights. And so Dennis Hamlin. I don't know if you guys know this name, but Dennis Hamlin is now is a front office guy in Major League Soccer for the New York Red Bulls. I was an assistant coach for the Chicago Fire for years. He played for the team in Anaheim. So all these guys that they had no outdoor league anymore, really, they had to go play indoors. And then eventually when MLS came around, some of the guys that were still young enough tried and played. Sean Bowers played in Kansas City.
You mentioned Danny Pena.
Yeah, and Danny Pena came to play for the Galaxy. So guys that were young enough went to MLS and were able to play for the first couple of years before their careers eventually came to an end. And so that's what you had to do for soccer in this country at that time. It was a whole different world. We are light years ahead of where we were.
Yeah.
So do you recall your first game, though?
Quick note.
Oh, go ahead.
Quick note about Danny Pena. He coached me for about 5 years in club soccer with South Bay Force.
Okay. All right.
I would say the guy was a douche.
Oh, wow.
Well,
okay.
Danny Payne was an enforcer in the middle of the park, man.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That answer.
Nothing from
tough guy.
Anybody.
It sounds like you're just soft. You're just soft, Chris.
Hey, that's why I'm a legit. That's why I'm a legit fan.
All right, that makes sense.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Let's bring it back.
Let's bring it back here. Back to the Galaxy. So obviously you officially started with '97, right? Obviously you're part of the club since '96, as you know the in stadium. But your first game, do you recall which was your first game that you called for the Galaxy? You did not.
The first Galaxy game I called, I do not recall.
Wow.
It's 25 years.
I'm sorry.
Interesting.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
There's probably
No,
it's
it's
somewhere in my house that has it on there, but
well, that's what I was curious. Have you ever wondered like which game did I do first? I mean, has it ever came up? Are you thinking about it now?
no, no. To tell you the truth, I think I can't find it in my mind in terms of which it could have been. There weren't that many teams back then.
Yeah.
We had 12 when I started. It may have been a Chicago. It may have been a Dallas. I mean, you remember these guys were doing round robins. We had 30.
Yeah, round robin.
And really, we didn't have that many.
Yeah.
Other teams that we saw everybody multiple times.
All right. Well, so let me ask you a question then. What has been your favorite moment so far? And I guess since '97 till now, because there's been a lot of great moments, a lot of bad moments too.
There's a lot of them. I mean, every championship that I've been able to call, I've called 8 of the 9 that the team has been in. Certainly every winner, of course. The one that comes to mind, you guys have been talking about, or actually the Galaxy has been showing from time to time here in the 2002, the championship. Yeah. That meant so much for so many different reasons, being in the final and losing, and then finally getting this one done. That was a big deal. The 11 and 12 was incredible under Bruce, and the reemergence of the team, reemergence of what we thought would be the dynasty that turned into the dynasty. 2014 certainly was a great year as well. There are a lot of different moments. Even though we didn't broadcast it on television and it wasn't a regular season game, David Beckham takes the field against Chelsea in that exhibition game in 2007. That was incredible. Zlatan's 500th goal. Landon Donovan's 135, setting the record there. Those are the things that kind of come to mind when I'm starting to think about it. The bad ones, the final against DC at New England in 1999. Robin Frazier gets taken out. It probably should have been a red card. In fact, nothing happened. Robin Frazier's out with a separated shoulder, and unfortunately, a pass back from oh my God, the name just left my head. But onto Kevin Hartman, and unfortunately took a bounce. Kevin couldn't find it, led to a goal, and the Galaxy were trailing from there. Yeah. That was a tough one. The loss in 2001 in overtime when Dwayne DeRosario gets that breakaway.
Don't say that name.
That was
daggers.
That was a difficult one. Honestly, the one that bothers me more than anything was probably the 2009 loss in penalty to RSL.
Seattle.
Yeah,
RSL in Seattle.
That one to me, when it went to penalties, I had the feeling that they were going to pull it out. And you look at the guys who took the shots for the Galaxy, and you say, wow, these guys, you would never think they'd miss, and certainly not landed. Yeah. And the other guys who missed on with their opportunities, any other time you'd think they're automatic, and the pressure was on. Yeah. And just it didn't work out that way. Nick Raimondo was incredible, as we all know, as a penalty stopper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Question,
Rudy happened to be at that
question,
game.
Question, Joe. When it comes to you just said it frustrates you that 2009. Do you find yourself becoming emotional during the game, where as a fan you're watching this as a fan, and does that come into play for you?
Oh yeah, the fan's there. I just have to put them behind me. Yeah, the fan is there. Absolutely.
Yeah, I've heard plenty of people say that they cover the team and it's hard for them to become a fan. And to me, I can't find myself seeing that. If I'm doing something day in and day out of my life, it's hard not to become a fan.
Yeah, and to root for them, even a bit, even if you're not a fan of the sport. But I know George actually had brought this up, and we didn't include it in the document. I thought that's what he was about to ask you, because you mentioned, for example, the Chelsea game, a game that you didn't cover, and you just mentioned again some of this, right? Sometimes
I did cover
you're
it
watching
for radio, though. We didn't do TV.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, well, so how does it work? For example, I know some games when Fox has a game or ESPN has a game, are you still covering the game for internal uses?
Yeah, we're doing the audio broadcast. If it's on the road, it's usually Kevin Hartman with me. It's at either LAGalaxy.com, the app.
YouTube, right?
On YouTube, yes, exactly.
I didn't know that.
Sometimes Sirius XM will pick us up.
Nice.
Home games and so forth. So we have a national broadcast in terms of that in a traditional way to a certain degree. And so, one of the things I do enjoy doing is doing every Galaxy game. I don't like spot work. And the Galaxy has been great. They've allowed me to do that. And Spectrum's been great, allowing me to do that as well. And so in that regard, I can be at every game and can continue my rhythm. I like to be in a rhythm doing games. And when you just miss out on things, you've missed out on a big chunk that leads to what the next story is going to be.
Yeah. No,
okay. Well, that's a great transitional point. I know Rudy had some things that he wanted to cover here specific to game day, so I'll let him take over from here.
Yeah, you know, and it's back to what we were saying, right? For us, we took 3 weeks off at the end of the year, and we came back and we're just getting our wheels back in motion, right? Like it was really bumpy the first couple of weeks when we took the break off. And so it's crazy to see that you like doing every game, you get the chance to do every game. But what's the setup like? So for home games versus away games, like what are your routines? What are your warm ups or whatever you do to get ready for these games?
My routine is pretty simple, and I take a lot of heat for it. Not heat, but just people joke and tease me over it because I'm the early bird. I like to be at the stadium early. I mean, they're lining the field when I walk into the stadium. That's all.
I'll probably still sleep by then.
The nets are not even up, but I love it. I love being early. I love having the day come to me, and certainly sometimes when Kobe and I are doing home games on television, he'll call me. Where are you? And I'll be driving up, and he does it just to have some fun with me, and I get a chuckle out of it as well. But I really like being early to the stadium, and the away games is a little bit different. We're under some constraints that we're not necessarily allowed in, but I still get there early. The radio is a little bit different because I do the setup as well. Okay. And so I like to be there early enough to set it up, and if something goes wrong, I have enough time to make sure it all works.
Yeah.
But I just like being early to everything I do in terms of broadcasting because so many things can go wrong. You like to be in the right place at the right time, and there's just a lot of parts to the day that you just like to ingest. I mean, once the game, it's a flow. For me, it's a flow. And to get into the flow of the day is important for me.
Is that why you don't travel with the squad, like from the hotel to the stadium?
No, I think the media we'll be on a media bus sometimes, which and the team is together, and that's the way it should be. And the media, radio guys, TV guys, whatever you want to call us, we're in with the PR staff. And the social staff. The social staff is also on there as well, and the videographers are on the bus as well. And so that's just part of how the team operates, which I think is the right way to do it.
And I ask, sorry, Rudy, because I have a vivid memory of you. And I think, Rudy, you were in Chicago 20. What year did we go?
14?
No, it wasn't 2014.
No. Yeah, no.
I already know what you guys are talking about.
2016, yeah, okay, 2016.
2018.
When it was freezing cold.
When it was freezing cold, whatever, yes. Right, so.
It was the last 2 years ago.
2018.
Yeah, like three years ago. So there's this vivid mind that most of us in ACB have because we obviously walked out of the stadium from the away end. We had no clue because that was a lot of our first time in Chicago. Well, at a Plainview, wherever the stadium is? Bridgeview. Yeah, we had Bridgeview, sorry. And we had no clue, no idea where the Ubers are picking up or what the deal is. Well, it turns out that they were not prepared. The stadium was not prepared because that was the biggest turnout that they've had in years because of Zlatan.
Sure.
Right. So the place was crazy packed, and the Ubers apparently were blocked off where they couldn't get to the pickup station. So I guess because it's super freezing, we're a bunch of guys from LA, a bunch of guys and girls from LA. Some of us are kids like myself. Right. It's crazy freezing. I mean, it's
not prepared for it at all.
Yeah, we've talked about this so many times. That's definitely been the coldest games of our lives, and we've been to a lot of cold games. We've been to a lot of really cold games, a lot of away games. But we talk about it, we're under this bus stop, just covered there we put all the kids in there, like I guess, us, I don't know, how you can say us, I guess, more healthier ones. We're out in the front, provide the heat for the kids, the grown-ups, so the kids, the front lines, right? So we go
chivalry. It's called chivalry.
I don't want to say it because then people, right? I don't want to say it because then people are like, But then
it's not a term you associate with Angel. That's why he didn't want to say it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So it's I'm talking to Antonio Magana, and here goes Joe Tutino walking by with, I think you had a roller backpack or something. And we're like,
my equipment and whatever.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. And we looked at each other. Is that Joe Tutino? And everyone's like, is that Joe? Is that Joe? We're like, Joe, what are you doing here? And I forgot what you responded to. I think it may have been Osmond or someone, because we expected for you to be with the squad. But I guess you were also looking for your Uber, or I don't know. Like, what happened that day? I'm curious.
My Uber never arrived.
Okay.
Canceled on me without calling me or telling me. And I had a flight out of Midway Airport, the one that's really close there.
Right.
Midway's not too far away from that stadium. And so I was basically just trying to get to my flight. And so I ended up having to leave the stadium and walking on to a corner somewhere and hailing a cab. And I can say this now. The cab said, and it's what, maybe a 12-minute drive, something like that, really short, $50 or I won't take you. And I said, okay. I said, you better get me there because my flight is taking off. And he goes, I'll get you there. I'll get you there. And sure enough, he got me there just in time. And I got on the
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, we paid. I think it was like $100 to get there because of the traffic. The just rate got bigger, and then we ended up paying like $140 to get back to the city because of the traffic and everything, right? So like, I think we paid more in Uber rides to there and back than we did on our flights to Chicago. Just because it was ridiculous.
It was crazy.
Yeah,
well,
we're super prepared.
One of our fun road trips again, because going to the Soldier Field when we're playing there, when the Galaxy's playing there, is going to be something special.
Yeah, it's going to be easier too.
Last time we were there, the Galaxy won the Western Conference Final, so I'm pretty happy about that.
We actually have our flights. We actually have our flights booked for that game for this year.
At this point, I don't think it's going to happen anymore. But
actually, I need to correct myself. The last time we were at the original Soldier Field was the 2001 final. We were at the new one as well, but that didn't leave a very fond memory.
Yeah. But all right, moving on, and thanks for that. That's some good stuff right there. I know Chris also wanted to cover a few things here. I'll let Chris do his thing.
Yeah. So So for people that don't know, and I've seen you around the stadium, I always see you with Kobe, and at one point in my life, I honestly thought you were a Galaxy employee. There was plenty of times that I was drunk and I would come up to you like, Joey, what's up with the team? Why isn't the team performing? Why don't you? I don't work for the Galaxy.
Well, I do work for the Galaxy, thank goodness, and thank you to the Galaxy that I do work for the Galaxy. But in terms of the inners, what's going on with the club and things like that, I don't think it's right for me to even share that. Just like I talked about earlier, rhythm and organic. What happens on the broadcast happens in an organic way.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
Yeah.
So sorry about that. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good.
Drunk Chris, it's okay. You can just brush him off. Be like, go away, Chris.
Yeah. So just to talk about your analysts, and what do you guys like besides the whole getting there early, getting prepared? How do you guys get prepared for a match? What do you guys like get ready to talk about? How does that phase what takes place during
the week,
30 minutes before, during the week before?
It actually starts during the week.
Your warm up.
Yeah, it starts during the week. If we're doing a TV game, usually we will all talk amongst ourselves with the producer. Matt Graham is usually our producer on Spectrum, and we'll probably fire an email around in terms of what are the topics, what do we think we need to talk about off the top, things like that we want to watch for. One of the things I always ask about is let's pay attention to milestones because we don't want to miss them, certainly. And we want to make sure that if they happen in that game that we give it the proper due. And so we've been pretty good on that, thank goodness. But those
Who keeps track of the milestones?
Well, Galaxy PR usually has them in the game notes. And what I like to do is have our producers pay attention to what's going on because they may happen in the game, and we're talking about the storyline of the game. And we don't want to miss that. Yep. And Galaxy PR does a very good job of updating us on what's going to happen or what could happen this particular game that might be coming up. But it usually starts on a Wednesday for a Saturday game. For me, my personal prep is always going on. I mean, I can tell you right now that I'm checking the Galaxy stuff. I'm checking MLS stuff. I'm checking via ESPN soccer stuff all the time, maybe 2 and 3 times a day. And as we get closer to game day, whatever drops that I might want to at least put in the back of my mind is there. It's not written down. It's not in a notebook. It's more of looking, ingest it, understand it, have the ability to mental recall it when a game is underway and something's happening. I told somebody before, I can't look down at notes in the middle of the game. Yeah. The game is going on. Yeah. We're gonna miss a lot. Yeah. I mean, we're gonna miss a lot, and so it's very important for me to kind of have that mental recall and go from there. And with the help of the producers, then we're usually on target.
You see, boys. Hold on, before you go on. You see, boys.
Yeah.
We got to figure something out, right? We are super retroactive, right? We'll miss something, come back 2 weeks later. Hey guys, 3 weeks ago we said something that was not right, or we missed something 3 weeks ago. So we got to figure this out, guys. We're not doing it right. I don't think we have it right.
Well, and to add to that, because obviously you're not looking at notes, right? And obviously I imagine you probably study other teams. You're probably watching other MLS games to know the other players. But how do you do that? If there's a play that you don't know, right? If I'm hearing Joe Tutino, if I'm watching the game, or if I'm at one of the viewing parties, right? How do you get every single player's name right, or just everything? I mean, I can tell you that my colleague George here, he has problems with Twitter names. Twitter names, yeah. He struggles with Twitter names, and they're in front of him, and he has the times to read them. Yeah, with you, it's easy.
Well, it seems that way. You make it look that way.
Right, you make it look easy, right?
And second full question, what's the hardest name that you've ever had to mention? On top of that question that he asked, what's the hardest name ever?
Miglioranzi was not easy to say during the run of the game.
I heard you say it, and I couldn't repeat it.
Yeah, I had to go
he was difficult to say during the run of the game because sometimes you're saying that name 2, 3, 4 times in a row, right? And what they're doing and so forth along the way. And that was not an easy one to do. I don't know which other ones. Gosh, there's a couple out there, I'm sure, but it's almost the same as hockey. I think at the end of the day, you know, the hockey names, you look at them on their jerseys and you say, oh my God, what a difficult name that is. Mm-hmm. But once you get into, you know, you say it a few times and you understand where the syllables are and so forth, you're able to get it going. The opposing team is a little more difficult. The Galaxy players, eventually you know them all, and you know it's easier. But usually for me, it's always, you know, the first 10 minutes of a game, you know, just to have a pretty good idea what the other team is doing, get into the rhythm of the game. You know, first 15 minutes of the game, somebody's pressing somebody might have the better of the game, so you have to be focused on that a little bit more because a goal could be coming.
But I also, sorry, don't mean to interrupt, but I think that it kind of gets a little easier for you because, for example, like when I watch games on TV, I may not see the player name or number, or I may not be tracking it, but I track their position, you know. Sure. So I know, for example, for sure, like, okay, Steers has the ball. That's where he usually hangs around. Or even like when I'm watching European games, you know, Ryan Giggs is off on the wing or something. So like I know that player is there. Hey, just taking an example, all right? But I think it's a little easier already for you, that unless there's a big change, correct?
It is. But you have 22 guys out there, right?
Yeah.
It's not basketball, you know.
Well, so does that mean you're a good tactician then? If you're paying attention to these things, are you a good tactician? Should you be a coach? Should you be coaching the Galaxy?
No.
Coach,
me?
Okay. No. Coach,
Question, Joe. You have all the information. So say you're listening to all. You're getting prepared for game day. Can you remember a stat from, say, 1997? Can we say that you're a Galaxy historian?
That's a tough one. A lot of times it'll get blurred up for me.
Yeah.
You know, I could blur a game into a different year, unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah, that is a difficult one. I can pick out moments in Galaxy history, but if you grabbed a game from 1997 or 2002, I might remember that game, but I might get the year wrong.
Gotcha.
That's a lot of data.
Well, it's understandable. I mean, it's a lot of games that you've had to cover, a lot of years, a lot of seasons. You know, good years, bad years, you name it.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
Hopefully, not too many bad years. I've been lucky.
Yeah.
I've been one of the lucky ones in this league. We've had a lot of good years for the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Before we move on, I got a question, and he's gone now, so it probably doesn't matter. But I still am curious, right? Was it Skelvik or Shelvik? I called him Shelvik for as long as he was here.
Okay, I'll tell you how this went down. All
right. Oh, here we go.
and this is exactly how I do this with guys that I'm not sure about their names. I will actually walk up to them and say, "How do you pronounce your name?" Mm-hmm. And in Jorgen's case, he goes, "How do you pronounce it?" I said, "Well, your pronunciation guy says Skelvik." He goes, "Then do it that way." I'm saying, okay, but you're not telling me how you pronounce it. But that's how it stuck with me. Now,
gotcha.
guys who've done games with me have gone with the Shelvik along the way. I know the other announcers around the league have done the same thing. this went on for the time that he was with the Galaxy, that we would go back and forth on this with the PR, and PR goes, this is how he pronounces his name. So I'm like, okay, well, that's how we're going to do it, because you don't want to do that. You don't want to make a mistake, and then certainly you don't want to do it on purpose.
Yeah.
And so that's why it stayed Skelvick for me throughout his career with the Galaxy.
Yeah, listen, I buy it. You know, I bought into it, but you know, it's one of those names, right? Like one of those names that. Yeah, you say Skelvick, and I'm like, yeah, that works. But then I say Shelby.
Oh, we had the same thing to start the season here with the Pew.
Okay. Oh, it was so hard for us.
Started last year at Galaxy 2. It was Depew throughout the season. This year it gets underway, and all of a sudden we see, again, on the pronunciation guide, Depoy. And I'm like, okay, that's not – I don't remember saying Depoy, but start the year off as Depoy. And sure enough, we get back, no, it's Depew. I said, okay, well, it's Depew. Now, some people that know baseball, there was a president of I believe the American League that had the same last name, and it was pronounced Dupuy. So some names are a little bit difficult to figure out along the way.
And for us that we watch, soccer religiously, Memphis Depay, it goes by Memphis Depay. He doesn't go by Dupuy, so it's interesting. But obviously he's from the Netherlands, right?
I think somebody, I don't know where it is, but I heard think Pepe Le Pew, and I was like, cool, Le Pew. That works for me. That's what I'm going with.
That was one of the analogies given to us. We're like, okay, well.
Yeah,
but that's how we'll do it.
That's how it went.
Well, and is it Steers or Steers? Because Chris is always saying Steers.
Steers, yeah.
All the time.
Steers. It's Steers.
Thank you. All right, appreciate it. All right, we'll move on from here. So appreciate that's some good stuff there. This is I know it's something that we really wanted to cover, and George, I'll let you take it over from here. This is something that we all want to do, but I'll let you take it over from here.
So, Joe, you've been in SoCal, you could say, all your life. You went to school, San Diego. You moved up. You're now in LA. Have you ever
my
met?
home is in San Diego, guys. I wanted to clarify that.
Oh, where's your home?
I'm still in San Diego.
You're still in San Diego.
There.
Wait. So you travel game day from San Diego to LA?
Yeah.
No wonder you want
to. Now, there's another LA announcer that lives in San Diego and who's been doing it longer than I have.
Who?
Stu Land.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So getting to that topic of LA announcers, have you ever met the legendary announcers, the Chick Hearns, the Vince Scully's, the Bob Millers?
Yes.
Have you met all of them?
Yeah. In fact, I'll talk to you. Yes. I met Chick. I met Bob Miller, Nick Nixon.
You just mentioned Stu Lance, and he's still pretty known.
Yeah.
Yep, Stu Lance.
Well, now, I'll tell you right now, the Kings used to be on my station.
Yeah.
690 when Wayne Gretzky was with the Kings. And so when I was just getting into the business, the Kings used to simulcast radio and television. And so Bob Miller and Nick Nixon would do the games on radio and TV together. And I was one of the studio engineers for a short time. And so that was I dipped my toe into the broadcasting that way and getting to know those guys. Chick Hearn I met Chick Hearn through producing shows, and Chick was a guest periodically with us. Vince Scully, I'll be honest, I've never had the honor of speaking to him in person. I've been around him, but I've never had a conversation with him in person. Although I grew up listening to him with Dodger games on television, as well as the game of the week when he was on NBC with Joe Garagiola. That's the broadcast team that I remember when I was a kid. And there's nobody better than those guys. Nobody.
Do you ever find yourself, like, say you listened to Chick Hearn or to Vince Scully growing up? Do you ever find yourself picking up any characteristics or qualities that they had in their announcing, and now you take it with you and you make it your own? Or is there some things that you see that you want to do or build upon?
I think I take my broadcast. I think style probably takes from a lot of different people. I grew up with a guy named Randy Hahn in San Diego, who's now the voice of the San Jose Sharks, and he was also on the Kings broadcast as well. But he was my first influence as a child, right? I saw a lot of Laker games, and so I certainly got a taste of what Chick was all about. And to me, Chick was the biggest fan of the Lakers, and Chick would praise him. And Chick would always tell you that somebody wasn't playing well. And that part I've always respected. Bob Miller, the pace of Bob Miller is so smooth. The way he does it,
man, my personal favorite of all time.
Great.
No, eventually you'll get there. Eventually you get there.
I hope so. Someday. But just a great gentleman is Bob Miller, and Nick Nixon for that matter.
He still calls him.
Yeah, he does.
On the radio.
In terms of Vin, Vin is just an encyclopedia.
Yeah.
And he can do so many sports. It wasn't just baseball for him. He can do so many things. That's a hard one, and I think a lot of people would like to be Vin Scully, and they just can't.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I definitely agree.
Go ahead. Go ahead,
Chris. Go.
This is one of the things that's hard about being in different places right now with the way we're quarantined. Go ahead, Chris.
Andres Cantor. You ever work with him or know him personally by any chance? I mean, that's a big Latino.
Yeah, he's huge,
person.
Massive.
Yeah.
Before him, there was a guy named Tony Tirado that I used to watch as a kid. But Andres, I've met him. I've watched his work, certainly, especially during the 1982 World Cup, where the Hispanic stations were showing all the games live, so we had to watch it that way, and the American stations weren't not necessarily doing that at the time. And so I got a lot of Andres Cantor during that time. He's a very rapid broadcaster. That for whatever reason, when we Americans do that, people kind of frown upon it. So we try to find that balance.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to get to, because, and again, I grew up with Rolando Los Gonzalez, right? That's the Spanish version. So to me, here in Galaxy games, whenever I was with my dad, going from one place of work to another in the van, and we're listening to the games when we couldn't go to the stadium, or if they were away, we're listening to Rolando Los Gonzalez, and obviously he has that nickname El Veloz for a reason, right? Have you ever paid attention to his work? Given that you guys have been around. Well, you guys are around.
We see each other all the time. We say hello to each other.
Does he still work for the Galaxy? Still work for the Galaxy?
I believe so.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I believe so.
Yeah, because I can't find the Spanish broadcast anymore. At least I can't. I don't know if you know where I can find it, but I'm not able to find it anymore.
I'm sorry, I don't. But in terms of the Hispanic broadcasters, I'm broadcasting the game as when they are. So I can't really pay attention to what they're doing. I have my own work that I'm trying to figure out. Right? Yeah. So,
what has your relationship been with him?
I've had good relationships with all the broadcasters. They've always been kind to me, and I try to be respectful to them. I think it's very important to do that. If you're getting into this business and you think you're better than somebody else, that person's going to remember you. Yeah, trust me.
I bet.
Okay. Well, question, at the end of your Galaxy tenure, right, and hopefully that's still years from now, and you have all 10 of your fingers filled with rings.
Fingers crossed.
Yep. Do you think, or do you see yourself being in that upper echelon of announcers of the LA guys? Because the LA guys are legendary across the board. Doesn't matter what part of the world you are. Vin Scully. Not in the world, but at least in the U.S., right? Yeah. The people that watch, the NBA, that watch, the NHL, and that watch, baseball. They know Vin Scully, they know Chick Hearn, and they know Bob Miller. That's the thing, right? And again, these are genuine, voices for our people. Because you'll watch a New England Revolution broadcast, and it's an English guy with an American guy. No, this is what we have here. It's genuine, right? And that's what you are. You are genuine. You're a SoCal guy. Kobe Jones is a SoCal guy. This is a home thing. But when all things are said and done, and we get to that point, eventually we are honoring you at the stadium. Do you think you're going to be in that upper echelon, guys?
I don't know. I think that's not for me to say, honestly. Yep. And I think I just have a lot of work to do. And right now, I'm the luckiest guy around because I've been able to do it for most of my career. And hopefully I can do it to the end of my career.
Well, listen, I told the guys, my first tattoo is going to be Joe Tutino across my chest.
I'm sorry?
Then my first tattoo is going to be Joe Tutino across my chest. Yeah.
I'm sure there are better names and more important names if you end up doing that. But no, I don't know what to say about that. I think to me, it's being able to do it every year. I mean, it's just a blessing for me.
Was that ever a goal for you, though?
To be
among the greats, just to be recognized as one of the greats.
My goal right now is to do the best job I can possibly do. That's my goal. Recognizes the greats. Come on. I mean, look at the names we're talking about here. I can't even.
I mean, you ask us, and obviously we're Galaxy fans, right? If someone asks me, who do you want to hear, calling Galaxy game, Joe Tutino.
Yeah.
If it's obviously if I'm talking about in English, right? If I'm in Spanish, because if I'm listening to Italian, I want Joe Tutino, right? Okay. If I'm Italian or English, Joe Tutino. Spanish, obviously because you don't speak Spanish, you're bilingual, but not Spanish according to Galaxy, right? But if you ask us, I mean, that's my generation. Growing up, I've listened to Joe Tutino. Now my kids growing up, all they know is Joe Tutino, right? When it comes to Galaxy, they know your voice, they recognize your voice. So if you ask me, you're definitely on that track because you're synonymous with LA Galaxy. Yep. People say it's the voice of the LA Galaxy.
Listen, we don't have to go that far, right? When you came on and we heard you, we all thought LA Galaxy games, right? Your voice is synonymous with the team at this point. So, it's our opinion, right? It's just our opinion, but at least to me, like your name is synonymous with the team, and that's the one thing you guys. Well, not the one thing, but what you share in common with the Vince Scully's and everybody else, right? Is that they were synonymous with the team they broadcast, and that's what at least personally, that's what I think.
That's how we feel, right? And that's obviously,
Well, it's my honor, guys. It really is my honor. I mean, to make you guys, if I somehow enhance the broadcast to make you guys feel good about it and feel good about what we do, Kobe and I, and on radio, Kevin and I, for the away games, and Megan Reza on the TV with us as well. If we can make you guys feel good about the club and you guys have that type of retention towards us and that feeling towards us, it's just an honor. I mean, for me, it's just a huge honor. And so, I just hope that I'm able to do it as long as possible.
Yeah, hopefully, man.
I appreciate that. Yeah, and very classy too, and again, very real. Everything that you say, it's you don't sugarcoat things. At least I don't think so. That's one thing I really enjoyed from obviously you mentioned the Kings guys and even the current Kings guys. They're pretty straightforward. If a player is having a bad game, they or if a player made a mistake or if a penalty was a legitimate penalty, you're gonna say it. No, that was a penalty. I get we know that you're our guy. But you're still realistic. That's one, and we dig that, and we love that. We don't know. We don't want no. But ref, what is wrong with you? You say things how they are, and that's what I love the most about you. So thank you.
And then if you ever catch Joey somewhere at a party or at Stadium Club after the game, he will talk with you soccer and the Galaxy. I've been caught myself a few times. I think Rudy saw us last time at the ACB holiday party. Yeah. I think it was a good hour and a half just going over the season, he'll do it, man, and it's everything. It's truthful what he believes, he sees it, and it's respectable, Yeah.
Well, thank you. We're an extension. We're an extension of the team to you guys, and vice versa, the fans to the team. And I think that there's a responsibility to be available to you. That maybe we can't do it all the time, but when there's important things for you guys, holiday parties. This particular time that we're not able to all be together. I mean, listen, let me tell you something. I might be helping you guys out tonight, but you're really helping me out tonight because I'm able to connect again with the club. Yeah. And that's an important thing for me. So I thank you for that.
Yeah. Speaking of Galaxy family, we do have a couple of questions that we reached out and we wanted to know if we could ask you some questions from the Galaxy family.
Can I throw one in there? I'm sorry. Can I
go for it. Chris has a few too. I know you have. You got some questions. Go ahead.
Joe, you had an incredible weight loss journey.
Yes.
And you look great. You're healthy as hell.
Thank you.
Can you
look better than Rudy?
Yeah, and I think a little selfishly I'm asking that question because listen, I battle weight every day, right? No, don't really battle. I kind of just hang out with it. I hang out with the weight for now, but how to battle it. Just we hang out. Quarantine, checking out the would you mind sharing whatever you're comfortable with about your weight loss journey?
Sure. I'll tell you the whole thing. I've battled weight my whole life. I was a heavy baby. I was a heavy child.
You alluded to that earlier, too.
A heavy teenager, heavy adult. Got to a point where I was obese for a very long time in my life. And it wasn't something that I wasn't worried about or laughed off in any particular way. I was always trying to work out and be in shape and figure this out. And along the way, I'm big boned, I'm this, I'm that. My brothers are skinny, by the way. They've been skinny their whole life. I was the only heavy one in my family. I ate the same food they did, but it just affected me that way. Yeah. What happened was I was sitting in my office at the radio station one day, and my office was closest to the kitchen, and went over to the snack machine, and I said, okay, I'm going to get something healthy. And for me, it was M&M peanuts. Why?
Those are my favorite.
Because the M&M, because the peanut, I told myself the peanut has protein. The peanut has, so I told myself that. So I caught my own junk. Let's put it that way. Yeah. And I just threw up my hands and I said, I need help. And I seeked help. And I went on a program that was bars and shakes, and it forced me to eat. And along the way, I realized that I was like many other people that are obese in this country and in this world, that you become a starver and a binger. And that was my routine. And I would overwork out, and then I would binge on top of that, and then I'd get guilty over that. I'd feel guilty over that, and then I'd starve myself. And everything was wrong. Everything was wrong. And when you lose weight, what I learned when you lose weight is that you have to eat. You have to eat every 2 to 3 hours. And when you do, you have to make good selections along the way. Now, some people think I'm nuts because, celery stalks are part of my breakfast. That's what I eat in the morning. And that's kind of how I go about my day. My workouts used to be 90 minutes a day. And sometime for a 9-month stretch, I did 90-minute-a-day workouts twice a day, before I went to work, after I went to work at night, and so forth. And it was not working for me. But now my workout is basically 35 minutes a day. And there's a reason for that. My workout parallels the amount of food I'm bringing in. So I'm not overworking out. I'm right on target. And my body responded. And you know what? I lost 130 pounds, and I've kept it off.
Amazing.
In fact, yeah, I was here. Maybe we can help somebody tonight. When I stepped on the scale, when I finally had the guts to step on the scale at this program, this place, the body scan said I had 48% body fat on my body. All right. So just to give you an idea where I am today, this morning I did a body scan and I was at 10.2% body fat.
Wow.
And I would never have said that about myself ever. So that's kind of what happened to me. I had to learn how to eat again and eat properly and make good choices. And I wish I would have done it 20 years earlier, right? Because I missed a lot of life.
And when it comes to, we're bringing, at least these guys know, and I'm annoying about it all the time. We're on the pod here sometimes talking about protein shakes and carbs. George is always making fun of not making fun, but it's like a tease thing now where, it's like my macros, my micros, all types of acros, right? And it's a thing because it's eventually and I get it. These guys know. I had gotten pretty big at one point, and 3 years ago now,
okay.
3 years ago now, I decided to, right? It's about 3 years ago now, right? Yeah, I got on something that works for me, right? It's about finding what works for you, and I found what works for me, and
right.
I lost about 30 pounds, and I'm basically probably in better shape. Not in better shape, but I'm in almost there. The shape that I was when I was, playing soccer in college and all that stuff. So I get it though. Again, it's
good for you.
3 years. It's 3 years, and I'm still not at where I wanted to be, but I'm on my way. Definitely on my way.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Going back to you, Joe, I remember seeing it. I think. When I first saw you again, or when I first realized, I was like, yo, my guy is a lot smaller than last time I seen him, right? And it kept going, and it's really dope to see something like that, right? Because you're a real person. Like I've seen it on TV before, and I've seen it on ads before. But they're not real people to me, right? Or there's no connection there. To see it from you, and I wanted to bring it up just because, again, right?
You see how it is? Because it's the voice of the galaxy, but when I do it, it's not a big deal.
But you're annoying. I really like Joe.
You bring down everybody behind you. You drag them, and then you tell them about how amazing.
No, just Rudy. I bring down Rudy. Just Rudy. Chris lost his weight, and I was proud of him, and I encouraged him. Rudy's a different story.
No, all right. Going back.
That's an amazing journey, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing with us.
Yeah,
we got other questions. So
sure, go ahead.
How does it feel?
Go ahead, George.
longest tenured Galaxy. How does year 25 compare to year 1?
That was from Alex Gonzalez on Twitter. I guess he wasn't aware that it's
Well, it's no. I understand what they're saying, but I was still paying attention to what the Galaxy was doing. Trust me. But it's a whole different story. I mean, this is not the same league it was back then. I mean, honestly, it's just a whole different animal completely in terms of how things were done. I mean, the way things are run by the Galaxy today, because of all they have available to them and the talent that's in the offices today. I mean, the Galaxy organization was big for the time, for the sake of argument, but really, really small compared to what is the LA Galaxy today. I mean, there were only a handful of people making that go, and everybody wearing 3 and 4 hats in the early days of not only the Galaxy, but everybody else in Major League Soccer. And that's what soccer was in this country, not just in 1996 and 97 and 98 and whatever. It was 1979 and all the way up. There was, I mean, maybe the New York Cosmos back then probably had a bigger organization, but everybody else was, you know, just pulling rubber bands from here and there and trying to make it all go. And so that's the early days was something like that in Major League Soccer. But I mean, broadcast lines didn't work. Things like that you would go into other places and just, I mean, there was one time we did a game in Mile High Stadium in Denver. And we're supposed to do it in one studio, and then there's a broadcast line there and it doesn't work. No broadcast line. And they couldn't move us. And I called the Galaxy PR guy and I said, hey, before you guys come to the stadium, again, me being the early bird, before you guys come to the stadium, we need 100 feet of phone cord. They go buy 100 feet of phone cord. They bring it us. And we're running phone cord in the rafters of the broadcast area to get us on the air. And that's what we did. And those are the things you do.
Does that PR person still work for the Galaxy? Because I wonder if we ask them the question, I'm curious to know about what their adventure was, finding the cord.
Oh, it was a Radio Shack run.
Okay, gotcha.
That's what it was. Right, it was a Radio Shack one.
Rest in peace, Radio Shack.
That person no longer works at the Galaxy. These are the early days. And so those are the type of things that would happen. I mean, 2001, there's the final, the Western Conference final. I fly into Chicago. The hotel we're staying at is sold out. There's the room, even though I had a room, there was no room for me. And so I slept. The night before the game, they put me in one of those kind of catering rooms that you would have, a room that you would have maybe a little party in or so forth. Of those types.
The banquet halls.
It's a little banquet hall at the very top, where the very top where the air conditioners are, and the air conditioners and the heaters are going off because it was cold that time. And those are the things we kind of went through. Yeah. Today, it's a whole different story. You walk into a hotel today, it's no different than being part of an NFL team. That's how far we've come. It's massive. It's not this. It's the same league, but it's not the same time. No way.
And speaking about that, the fact that it was the early years, did you ever feel that the MLS might fold, and did you have a backup plan for that as far as your career? That question comes from Victor 138.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was already running a radio station. Some of you guys might know that I used to work. Jim Rome and I used to work together. I'm the original.
No way.
I'm the original producer of the Jim Rome Show. And we worked together and created the national show together. It was myself, it was Jim, and it was one other guy that worked on the syndication of the show. Yeah. And by the way, when Jim worked with me and I worked with Jim, he liked soccer, just so you guys know. Times were a little bit different back then. But so I was already running a sports station. The station was very big. It covered throughout Southern California. We were the radio station for the Chargers. We were the radio station for the LA Kings. We were the radio station for the UCLA Bruins. And so we were covering Southern California like a giant umbrella, right, over Southern California. And so we were everywhere. And so in my case, I always loved soccer. Soccer was my number one thing. And so I was always pointed towards getting into soccer in some way. Play-by-play would be my only way, really, to tell you the truth. and so that what you're talking about here in terms of your question, the fallback was there. But
Yeah.
Soccer's the takeoff point for me in my mind. It's not really a fallback. I didn't want to have to fall back. I'm looking at the takeoff point. And so soccer for me is the takeoff point, and we had the contraction of the league, and frankly, you know, my colleagues were saying, "See, I told you so. The league is not going to make it. It's going to be gone. It's going to be goodbye." When the Florida teams went away, and that just didn't happen. I mean, Mr. Anschutz ran, I think, 4 teams: the Galaxy, San Jose. He ran Colorado.
Yep. The Colorado Rapids.
Yeah, he ran more than 4 teams. Hold on a second. He ran Colorado. He ran DC for a time, and he ran the Metro Stars.
Oh,
that's Mr. Anschutz did. Okay, Lamar Hunt, and he had FC Dallas or Dallas Burn at the time, and he had the Columbus Crew. And then eventually, what happened was, I think Robert Kraft, at that point, ran just New England at that point. At that point, but in the early days, in '96, Robert Kraft ran the San Jose Clash. That was all. I mean, all that it was. That's how this league was.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Now you guys are very young, and this is also before my time. Go back to the American Football League, and it was kind of held together in the same way before it merged with the NFL. And so, you know, these gentlemen got together. They decided they wanted to get it going. They got Don Garber as the commissioner, and I think he was commissioner maybe a year or two before that all went down. And they came up with a plan, and they made it happen. And you know, the stadium was built at that time. It was Home Depot Center when it opened up. And once that happened, that's when I felt in my gut, we're not going anywhere. We're going to be around. You know, because when our stadium opened up, that was a real stadium, and a real facility, and we're not going anywhere. That type of money.
Whitney was, it still is.
Yeah,
exactly. Gorgeous. Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Being with the Galaxy for so long, have you ever found yourself saying, you know what, that's my favorite Galaxy of all time. That's my favorite Galaxy player of all time. Do you have a favorite Galaxy player?
I can tell you who mine is.
Okay, go ahead.
Kobe Jones.
Kobe Jones, your favorite Galaxy player?
Kobe Jones is my favorite. Yep.
I knew it.
You know,
of course we're doing it. It's my favorite.
I have a group of guys. Kobe's in there. I think, and I left him out of the article on an accident, but I think the one that had the most impact on the Galaxy for the time that he played for the Galaxy, and I really believe he was probably the greatest designated player in Major League Soccer to this point, has to be Robbie Keane.
Oh, yeah.
You know. You know, he really brought all that together. I'm not so sure the Galaxy win those 3 championships without Robbie on the team. And certainly he's the catalyst that helped them win that other one in 2011 when it started it all. And so, you know, Kobe, of course, is the face of not only the Galaxy, but I think today, if you still said who's the face of U.S. soccer, you're going to have a number of names, right? You'll have Landon Donovan. You'll have, you know, some people might say Clint Dempsey, certainly Pulisic today. But there's still people. Yep. There's still people that'll say Kobe Jones, and that tells you the impact that Kobe Jones has had on this game in this country, and that's, you know what, that's a tip of the cap to him. Landon was one of my favorites, of course. You know, to me, he's the greatest American soccer player of all time until Christian Pulisic eclipses his numbers, and you have to do that in time. You can't just show up and say all of a sudden this guy's the greatest American player of all time because he's been here for a year. That doesn't work. Nope. You have to do it because injuries are part of this game.
Mm-hmm. And it works with the city also.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, the Carlos Ruiz years were incredible. They don't win in 2002 without Carlos Ruiz.
Nope.
Yep.
You know, Kevin Hartman, of course. You know, David Beckham for different reasons. I don't have one. I can't give you one. I'm sorry.
That's fair enough. You mentioned DP. You mentioned Robbie Keane. Let's talk about another DP, which was Zlatan. What about him do you miss, if anything? And would you have liked him to see him retire in a Galaxy jersey? What was your farewell for Zlatan? What did you picture in your head when he came?
I think he was everything that I thought he would be for the LA Galaxy and in this league. There were questions because could this guy come back from a knee injury? Yeah. Would he take it seriously? There are guys that may not take things seriously. You didn't know, but I think maybe Zlatan is probably the one player in this league could take over a game at any time. And I really believe when he was focused, when he was healthy, when he was motivated, he was 2 goals a game for the Galaxy, period.
Yep.
And that's how good he is compared to any other player against him. For a big player, the amount of talent he has top to bottom, that's how good he was and is.
Yeah, listen, it was one of my biggest frustrations with Zlatan because I knew he could do that. I knew he could score two a game whenever he wanted to. Right, and so that was my frustration with it.
But the Galaxy didn't win a championship and didn't get to a championship with him. Now we have to remember that too.
I didn't want to come back second year, right? Personally, I was because I think the team could have played better without him or with a different striker. Yeah, listen again, right?
Listen,
I'm not
2 games into the season. You're lucky the coronavirus thing happened because otherwise I'd be tearing this team apart right now.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Play was not ideal.
Okay, let's not do it.
Yeah, sidetrack.
Sidetrack. Sorry, but this is what the podcast is about. This is how we argue all the time. So it's not foreign. But I don't want to do it right now.
What do you got there?
Chicharito.
Chicha. Okay. I like him. Honestly, hey, listen, I like him. I've been, obviously I watch him in training when I'm able to go. When they were training, unfortunately, they're not right now. But I like his personality. I think he's very respectful. I think he really wants to perform. I do not believe he's one of those guys that's going to come over here and just take the money. I think the Galaxy has to figure out a way to get him the ball in ways that he can put the ball in the back of the net. And that's different than Zlatan Ibrahimovic. That's just a whole different story. Not the same player. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's fair that anybody asks him to be the same player. That's not him. And it's not him with the Mexican team that we've seen so many times. And that wasn't him in Europe as well. So I think the Galaxy need to figure out what works. Yeah. And I think he will be productive. He's a young enough guy that cares enough, and he does not want to go out the wrong way.
And he has a nose for goal. He's proven he has a nose for goal.
Yeah.
So you just got to get him service. All right, we have any more?
Yeah, that was it.
That was dope.
That was it.
Yeah, there's still a few. And I'll go down through them here. Game day rituals. This is actually from our friend Rob Moore. He wanted to know, do you have any game day rituals?
But he spoke about that. Stuff.
I like to take a walk around the stadium before the game. I like to say hello to everybody who's working, getting set up. I'll go into the Galaxy offices, say hi to them, things like that. I like to do that. I do go through the game notes, and I'll notate certain things. I'll doctor it up a certain way, depending on what's going on. But I like to bring cookies to the staff if I can.
Nice.
That's kind of how it is. I take it as it comes, but there's no I have to wear certain socks or anything like that.
No. Can we just take note of the socks you wear when you win? Let's just try it out if we ever come back.
No, yeah. I'll try to. I used to do that as a kid. No, not anymore.
Awesome. Listen, like we said in the beginning, and we'll say it now, thank you so much for coming on. It's really, really an honor for us. As we mentioned, you are the voice of the Galaxy when it comes to anything broadcast. So to have you on this podcast means a lot to us, because again, we're not your normal podcast. We're a little,
Have you ever listened to the podcast, Joey, by any chance?
I have not.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry.
I haven't. No worries. I mean, we know
okay.
some people in the front office do, so we're just curious if you did.
Listen, I really thank you guys for thinking of me. That's part of you guys talk about. Do you ever think you're going to be this? You're going to think this is what matters to me, is how you guys feel about me, not what I feel about myself. I have a responsibility to make you guys proud, and if I can do that as a broadcaster, then we're all elevating together. And I just want you guys to know, and anybody else who's watching tonight, I take this extremely importantly. It's a very big part of my life, and so to be able to perform for you guys is an honor. So thank you.
Listen, I'll be one of the first to say that it shows. It definitely shows everything that you put into your craft. It shows just for us to come on here, hear your voice, and automatically think of the Galaxy. You're synonymous with them, and we thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, my pleasure.
Likewise.
My pleasure. Hopefully we'll all be back soon.
Yeah.
At some
Hopefully.
point in some weird way. Who knows? Maybe we have to start without fans. Maybe we do something in a weird sort of way. But hopefully we're able to do this and allow you guys to get into the stadium in a safe way. And once that happens, and I'm sure there are some smart people in Major League Soccer, and certainly the guys at the LA Galaxy are trying to figure out ways to make this happen in a safe way for you and all of us. And once that happens, then we've turned the corner. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Well, look, even if we can be at the stadium, you've heard ACB multiple times, so I'm sure you know
All
our
the
songs,
time.
right? You can sing it from beginning to end. You can do 90 plus minutes of all ACB.
I wish I could.
ACB. That's all you got to do. You don't even got to. We'll watch. We'll just scream, and you just keep doing.
between you
Oh,
guys-
campeone.
Between you guys and the Galaxians. Now, you guys, there were the Galaxians and the Ultras, and I don't know exactly what the Ultras turned into, but there was the Galaxians, and then eventually the Riot Squad, and then you guys created ACB and the other ones that are coming with Galaxy Outlaws as well that are on the docket now. I love when the stadium goes from one side to the other with the chants. I love it, and one day, if we could mic you guys a little bit more, as long as you guys can keep it clean, I would think our stadium would sound a lot like European facilities if we are able to bring you guys into the game a little bit more, and that's what I really would like to do, and we'll get there. We'll get there.
I also think with Victoria Block, that's gonna help out a lot because now we have more sections, more people active. We're working on it. We've been against miking just because we want to make it to a point where it sounds that way without a mic.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, listen again.
Well, no, I don't want you guys. No. I don't want you guys mic'd in the stadium. I want you guys mic'd so we can pick you up in our broadcast.
Oh, I mean
that's what I want to do. Not necessarily come over the PA. I don't need you guys to be over the PA. You guys are loud enough as it is. We need to be able to pick you up as part of our broadcast. And because the fans are very important to our sport. Yeah. It's not like a baseball game the Oregon's playing. That's not what this is all about. This is you guys and the play on the field. And if we can do that, I think we're right there. We're right there.
Definitely, it was something we definitely tried about. Again, Joe, thank you so much for coming on. I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're staying sane with this quarantine and staying at home.
Right.
And hoping to hear you.
Getting a lot of walks.
Hoping to hear you, calling the Galaxy soon, because we definitely missed that. But
I hope so.
Yeah, I want to say, let me real quick, just again, I'm the one that brought you guys together with Joe. I'm sure Joe's, it's okay with this. Anybody, like I said, once season gets back up, reach out to him, come and talk to him. Awesome guy. I've known him for not a personal level on a personal level, but I've known him for a couple of years, seen him at the Galaxy games in and out, so awesome guy, awesome dude. Thank you, Joe, for responding back to me right away on Instagram and being able to do this for us. So these are my buddies. So, definitely we all appreciate it.
Yeah.
Please say hello.
Yeah,
please say hello. You guys are always welcome.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, thank you.
Right,
thank you, Joe. Appreciate it.
All right, man. I hope you guys enjoyed that. We have a few more of those coming up soon. I'm not putting dates on them or anything. One of those coming up soon.
They're happening. They're gonna be recorded.
Yeah.
They might be. They're gonna be released.
Listen, they might.
Dr. Dre wannabes and shit.
Listen, they might.
Yeah, exactly. Like Dre. Yeah.
Hey, listen. I'm starting a collection of really fire ass lost tapes. All right, so just
hey, this is fire, like fuego, like volcano lava shit. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Hey, the Joe and Vanilla are up there. It's those.
Yeah.
Well, hell yeah.
All right. But with that being said, it's another episode of Straight from the Stands. I'm with Rudy at I'm Smarts on Twitch. I'm Smarts on Twitter. I'm Smarts on the gram.
This is George, J Undefeated 7. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter.
This is Angel. Just follow me on Instagram right now because I'm not on Twitter. ADF3691.
You banned from that shit too now?
No, it's just Twitter is my Galaxyverse, and I'm not on there for anything else.
CSAN07 on all social media platforms. Thanks again, guys.
Thank
Hit
you,
me up
man.
whenever.
Yep, for sure.
All right, what is it? Peace, love, and Jesus.
There you go.
Yeah.
You got it. All right, man.
Hey, peace, love, and G's up. If we didn't say it, peace, love, and G's up.
Stay safe, man.
All right.
Peace.